Hello everyone, my name is Cindy Brandt. I am the blogger at cindywords.com and at the Patheos blog Unfundamentalist Parenting. Today I want to talk to you about something that I was taught growing up as a conservative evangelical. I was often told that God loves you and has a perfect plan for your life. I think the reason people said this to children and to young people was based out of very good intentions. They want to assure children and young people that they are loved and that their lives have meaning and purpose and have ultimate value. And I can certainly agree with all those sentiments, but the way that it usually plays out has very problematic ramifications. So I'm going to talk a little bit about why I think it's problematic. And then I want to present a better way of parenting that is a better way forward. First of all, the subtext of the sentiment to walk in God's perfect plan is that you have to act in accordance to a moral code. So for me, growing up, it was don't drink, don't smoke, don't swear, don't listen to bad music, don't watch bad movies, and the list goes on. And the idea seems to be that, yes, there is a perfect plan. Yes, your life can be good and valuable and have purpose if you hold up your end of the bargain and do all of the right things. This is problematic because it's contrary to the message of God's unconditional love. God loves you if you do all of the right things, or you're going to veer off of his path of blessings. The gospel isn't a behavior management system. A conditional love is not good news. If God's blessings aren't available to those, and especially to those who make some bad decisions and are having to suffer the negative consequences for their behavior, then it's not good news. Secondly, the idea of a perfect plan has implications that there is only one path that you can walk. So there is only one perfect person that you can marry. There's only one profession that is worthy of pursuing. There's only one right way to be a Christian. When young people hear this kind of message, they are saddled with a lot of unnecessary anxiety as they are making lots of decisions as part of growing up. So they may be looking for signs or trying to, in discerning what is the right decision to make. They have this pressure to have to find the one right answer. And when you have one right answer, it implies that there are lots of wrong answers. The thing is, young people, just like the rest of us, can only learn by making mistakes and taking risks. The pressure to discern God's perfect plan and to find the one right thing and the one right answer saps their energy to go out and live their lives with energy and vitality, like young people should be doing. They should have the freedom to go and have adventures without worrying about veering off some divinely ordained path. So what's a better way? God loves you, full stop. Often when I talk about unfundamentalist parenting and the kind of all-encompassing love that we should talk about when we talk about God's love, a lot of people push back and talk about the slippery slope and how this leads to no moral code, no boundaries, and when applied to parenting, they think it becomes permissive parenting where kids can just do whatever they want. And this is simply untrue. I consider myself a fairly strict mother, and I guard my kids' boundaries with a lot of care. From when they were babies, I made sure that they went to bed at a decent time. When they were toddlers and preschoolers, I was teaching them manners at the dinner table, to chew with their mouth closed. And as they begin to get older and are able to reason with me, we discuss the morality of their decisions, the consequences of making certain choices, and whether or not it hurts people, whether or not it hurts themselves, whether or not it bears good fruit. But these discussions are never somehow tied to whether or not God dispenses of God's love to my kids. God loves us, even and especially when we have goofed and have to suffer the negative consequences of our choices. This should always be at the heart of the gospel that we tell our children. The Christian subculture that requires conformity to that culture is very alienating to those who don't align to that script. Culture, by definition, is a set of shared assumptions and shared understanding of how one should act. So it's inevitable that there is some social pressure to conform to a certain behavior. Therefore, I think as Christian parents, we have to be especially intentional to help our kids know that there is more than one way to be Christian. And the way we can do that is by exposing them to lots of different kinds of Christians with different along the theological spectrum, and encouraging them to live into their unique selves. My friend Alyssa's 11-year-old son says that we are all shards of a mirror that together reflect God. We are all unique, like snowflakes, but we all reflect God and are worthy of God's love. So God loves us, full stop. This secure foundation of the promise of God's love and presence with my kids, I hope allows them to be able to go out into the world with the confidence to blaze their own trail, to live into their own unique path. Instead of telling them, God has a perfect plan for your life, I would tell them what Brene Brown says. You are imperfect. You are wired for struggle. You are worthy of love and belonging. When I was a kid, I had the rather unfortunate combination of having a type A personality and fundamentalist ways of thinking. I believe that I can only honor God if I strive to be the best kind of Christian, which for me was becoming a missionary. What I did not know, that I wish I knew, was that I could honor God even more if I had leaned deeper into understanding myself, understanding my own passions, my curiosities, my gifts, what makes me come alive inside, what has God uniquely made me to be. That was what was more honoring to God. And that is what I want my kids to know. I want them to know that they can be whoever God has made them to be, that they need to learn that about themselves, that they need to go explore, make mistakes, and learn about who they are and who God has created them to be. That it doesn't matter what they do in their lives, that it would not make their lives any less worthwhile. In fact, I would go as far as to say that God has given each generation the permission to create new roles, to imagine new identities into which they can live into the world. It is incredibly exciting for me to be able to encourage my children to find their own way without strapping a confining Christian script on their lives. I want to be able to hold witness to how they will learn and grow. They get to tell the story of their own lives, and I'm just privileged enough to get a front row seat.